Welcome to part 2 of 100 mark making ideas anyone can do. In this video, I have 25 more mark making ideas for you to try. If you missed part 1, be sure to go back and watch it for 25 more techniques. Hi, I'm Jackie Hernandez, author of the Mark Making Starter Kit. I'm currently doing a 100-day project to explore mixed media mark making techniques. I'm working in these 2 scrappy art journals I made in a previous video. Links to all the videos in this series, the scrappy art journal tutorial, and all the supplies I used are in the video description below. I hope these ideas inspire you to do some mark making experiments. You may want to save this video to refer back to. Number 26, white outlines. Start with a page that already has a pattern on it. Use a white gel pen or a metallic gel pen to outline select shapes in the pattern, like I did with this trail of hearts. Number 27, clothespin bursts. Use the tip of a clothespin to stamp acrylic paint in circular rings. The clothespin makes 2 marks each time you stamp it. I used the ring shapes in the background pattern to guide my marks. If your background doesn't have rings, you can use a compass to draw a few circles as a guide. Number 28, creamy crayon marks. To draw smooth, creamy marks with a wax-based crayon, you can dip or spray the tip of the crayon with rubbing alcohol. This is the one that I've been using. Reapply as needed. I am using Neocolor 1 crayons here, which are not water soluble. If you want to do this with water soluble Neocolor 2 crayons, simply dip them in water instead of rubbing alcohol. Number 29, cookie cutter. Use a cookie cutter as a guide to start a pattern. Use a pencil to lightly trace around the cookie cutter. Then use an acrylic marker to draw a concentric pattern around that shape. I surrounded mine with graduated dots, giving this page a starfish vibe. Number 30, lid stamping. Dip a jar lid or a bottle cap in liquid ink like black India ink and stamp rings in an overlapping pattern. I was stamping on newsprint, so the ink feathered out slightly from where I stamped it. Be sure to use a scrap paper behind this page to protect from bleed through. Number 31, baking paper sgraffito. Here's a different way to scratch into wet paint. Apply acrylic paint to a piece of baking paper. This is the baking paper that I use. Flip the baking paper over and lightly press it onto the page. Then use the end of a brush handle to scribble onto the baking paper. The paint below gets squeezed out, showing the background color. While the paint is still wet, peel off the baking paper to reveal the design. The baking paper will have a mirror image of this same design. Number 32, graduated marks. Use an acrylic marker to draw repetitive marks that gradually increase or decrease in size. I use the gaps in this bubble wrap print to draw U-shaped marks, making them shorter or taller as needed to fit the space. Number 33, pattern sampler. Gather all your white mark making supplies and start with a background paper that is divided into sections or separate shapes. Draw different marks or patterns in each section. On this page, I used a white gel pen, a white India ink brush pen, a China marker, a white chisel tip acrylic marker, a large bullet tip white India ink marker, a fine tip white Posca marker, a small bullet nib white India ink marker, and a white colored pencil. A pattern sampler is a great way to practice mark making and test out all your art supplies. Number 34, dash scallop pattern. Use a circle punch or cut out a 1-inch circle from scrap paper. You want to fold it in half and mark the halfway point on both sides, and then fold it in half the other way and mark the halfway point again. When you open the circle, it should have a mark at the top, the bottom and both sides. Position the circle at the top left of the page and draw dash marks around the top half of the circle only. Slide it over to draw dash marks, creating another semicircle. Finish the row, then slide the circle down and line it up where two of the previous semicircles meet and draw a semicircle of dashes. Repeat this pattern to create the alternating scallop design. Number 35, reflected doodles. Use a white gel pen to draw a row of doodle shapes. I drew an abstract plant shape. On the next row, draw the same design but reflected or flipped upside down. Continue flipping the design back and forth to fill the page. I decided to go back and embellish my pattern with dots at the end. Number 36, stamp and glaze. Stamp white marks on a colored background. I used the tip of a Nerf dart to stamp white dots with acrylic paint. I use titanium white. When the white paint is dry, use a transparent or a semi-transparent color to glaze over the white marks and the entire background to unify them. You can use a shop towel to help blend the paint. Number 37, loopy lines. Use fine tip acrylic markers to draw scribbly, loopy lines all over the page. Use multiple colors and overlap the layers. I started with white and then went back and added more white at the end on top of the other colors. Number 38, tracing. Place a template behind a vellum page and trace the pattern with a white brush pen. The template I used for this page and several more are included in the Mark Making Starter Kit. You can learn more about the Mark Making Starter Kit at the link below the video. Tracing is a great way to practice mark making and create beautiful, complex compositions. I outlined all of these shapes first, and then I went back in and decided to fill in some of the shapes to make them stand out more. Number 39, basket weave. Start with grid paper. Use an acrylic marker to draw a pattern of alternating horizontal and vertical lines in a row across the page. On the next row, alternate the pattern so that it interlocks with the first row. You don't have to do lines. You can experiment with using different elongated shapes arranged in this basic basket weave pattern. Number 40, ink resist. Use a white china marker, a grease pencil, or a crayon to draw a pattern across the entire page. You want to use firm pressure to apply the wax. Then paint over the design with watered down ink, like this teal India ink that I used, or use watercolor. The wax pattern is going to resist the ink. Just don't overpaint, as the wax will not continue to resist if you brush over it too much. Number 41, stencil scribbles. Use a circle punch to make a paper stencil or use a stencil that has large openings. Place the stencil on your background and then use an acrylic marker to scribble over the openings. I used a chisel tip marker. Hold the stencil down firmly so that the marker doesn't slip or bleed underneath. Remove the stencil to reveal the fun design. Number 42, counted stitching. Use an acrylic marker to draw a sashiko style stitched pattern. Instead of drawing guidelines, count your stitches. To form this hexagon pattern, I drew 3 stitches on each side of the hexagon. At the end, I went back and decorated with additional stitches to create the flower-like pattern inside the hexagons. Here's another example with an Asanoa pattern. The longer lines have 9 stitches and the shorter lines have 5 stitches. Number 43, brush pen drills. Use a brush pen to draw repetitive marks across the page. You can do this on any type of paper. I had a piece of sideways calligraphy paper in my journal, so I used the lines as a guide to draw horizontal S shapes. Number 44, expressive marks. Use an acrylic marker to draw big expressive marks. Keep it loose and don't worry about perfection. Experiment with different tools to see which are your favorites for making loose, expressive marks. Number 45, mini clothespins. Tape 5 mini clothespins together like this. 3 are pointing down and the other 2 are pointing up. Make sure they're flush at the bottom. Then you can use your new stamping tool to stamp acrylic ink on the page. I created a sunburst pattern by using the stamp like this. Number 46, ink on vellum. Use a flat brush to paint bold marks on vellum with India ink. I used a 1/2 inch flat brush to paint different size U shapes. I changed up the pattern for each row. To keep the vellum from curling, I clipped down the corners with these little bulldog clips, and I kept them clipped down until the ink was completely dry. Number 47, halftone. Start with a page that has a grid pattern of some kind. Use a fine acrylic marker to start making small, alternating polka dots following the grid. Every couple of rows, start making the dots slightly bigger. Switch to a larger acrylic marker as needed. Continue until the dots are so close they start connecting. This is one of the exercises I teach inside the mark making starter kit. I show how to make halftone patterns with other shapes and how you can use halftone patterns to create gradients by varying spacing, line weight, and mark size. Get your mark making starter kit at the link below the video. Number 48, Onion OG. Start with a grid background. Use the grid as a guide to mark out a polka dot pattern. Those dots are going to become your targets while you draw the OG pattern. Connect the dots to form the OG pattern. Then draw straight lines down the center of each column. Draw more lines in between the curvy and the straight lines to create the onion look. Number 49, dot scallop. Reuse your circle template from idea number 34. This time, make dots around the template instead of dashes and try a different pattern. This pattern is made up of 4 semicircles, one that faces up, one that faces down, and 2 that face inwards, meeting in the middle. And if you mess up a few times like I did, don't worry, keep going. Sometimes it takes a while to get the hang of a particular pattern. Number 50. Mask and sgraffito. Start with a colored background. Place your masks over the background. If you don't have reusable masks, you can cut shapes from paper. Next, you want to coat a piece of baking paper with acrylic paint. I used Payne's Gray. You need to work quickly while the paint is wet. Flip the baking paper over onto the page and press lightly. Then use the end of a brush handle to scribble or write across the baking paper. Before the paint dries, carefully peel off the baking paper and lift up the masks. If you used paper masks, save those for collage fodder. The original background now shows through where the masks were, and the paint layer with the writing now appears in the background behind the leaf shapes. For more mark making ideas, check out my mark making playlist.